Hi, welcome to Prime Recap. He is a retired superhero and must train a team of young misfits to fight his brother and prevent the Earth from being destroyed. Today we will recap the story of the 2006 movie, Zoom. 5 young superheroes came together to protect the world from evil, and together they formed Team Zenith. Led by Captain Zoom and his brother, Concussion, the team has saved many lives. To make these superheroes even more useful against threats, the government decided to increase their powers using gamma-13 radiation. After the experiment, Zoom became faster and stronger, as did the rest of the group. However, Concussion let his powers go to his head and turned against his own team. On that day, Zoom lost his powers and his brother. Years later, scientists detect a pandimensional anomaly moving through the space-time continuum. Dr. Grant claims that Concussion is alive and it is he who is causing this phenomenon. Contrary to what everyone believed, the traitor did not die during the battle against his brother, and he is predicted to arrive on the planet within the next 12 days. Faced with a looming threat, General Larrabee says he will reactivate the Zenith program and orders Grant to find young mutants quickly so they can assemble a new team. The man claims that Zoom is the only one capable of training them and sends some soldiers to Long Beach to recruit him. The former superhero now uses his birth name, Jack Shepard, and works in his machine shop to earn a living. That morning, Jack is preparing his vitamin when he spots a beautiful woman standing across the street. While he is watching her, a car appears and almost runs Marcia over. Jack then helps the woman up and they both walk to the garage. Minutes later, the vehicle returns and Grant appears. In this instant, the superhero discovers that this woman is actually a psychologist working for the government. All that theater was rehearsed just to get Jack's attention. Grant informs him that the government intends to come back with Project Zenith, and Dr. Holloway says that he is the only one who can help them, because he was the last superhero left. Despite his former colleague's request for help, Jack refuses the invitation and asks Grant to leave with his friends. However, the scientist claims that he is there to take Jack and is authorized to use any means necessary. Grant points a gun at the hero and shoots a tranquilizer dart at him. Marcia tries to stop him, but it is too late and Jack ends up passing out. Cindy Collins is a 6-year-old girl who stands out for having superhuman strength. Her mother advises her not to reveal this power, but every time she gets angry, Cindy can't control herself. Summer Jones is a 16-year-old girl who is in high school. Because she is different from most teenagers, she is not very popular in her school. However, now that she has discovered her true abilities, the girl decides to strike back at the taunts she suffers from her classmates. Dylan West is the opposite of this. The 17-year-old is quite popular and not usually very interested in class. When his teacher invites him to the board to solve an equation, all the students realize that there is something wrong with him, because his body begins to disappear. The last member of the team, Tucker Williams, is a 12-year-old boy. Despite his young age, Tucker is bigger than most high school boys. As he jumps into the pool, his buttocks becomes gigantic and his monstrous size causes all the water to be expelled out of the pool. When the tranquilizer wears off, Jack wakes up to find that he has been taken back to Area 51. He is still determined not to participate in that project, but changes his mind when he is informed that he will receive $500,000 for the service. Grant takes the superhero for a walk, since that place has changed a lot since the day Jack left. Just then, Marcia approaches him and says she is a big fan of his. She tells him that she has every issue of Captain Zoom and his Fantastic Team comics. The scientist introduces Jack to a group of 10 candidates whose extent of powers is still unknown, as is that of the Zenith team before training. Marcia says that her studies in psychophysiology have made gamma radiation obsolete. She assures that it is possible to develop the abilities of those young people at much higher levels than was done with gamma-13 and in a much safer way. During the evaluation, Jack had to deal with completely useless abilities, such as blinking rapidly, expelling a giant snot, and spitting out little balls of paper. Most of the candidates fail, but the 4 young prodigies are given a chance and selected to make up the new Zenith team. Now that the trainees have been selected, Marcia introduces the young men to their new instructor. In his speech, Jack uses all his honesty and tells them that when he was young he was also sent to that secret base, and since then his life has been destroyed. Later, his old friend, Grant, shows him the costume he made for him 30 years ago. However, Jack never got the chance to wear it. To try to reverse the damage done by the hero, Dr. Holloway shows the youngsters her comic book collection and says that all those characters were inspired by Jack and his team. The comics tell the stories lived by the Zenith team and Jack was Captain Zoom, a faster hero than Mercury, Flash and Superman. Upon discovering the truth about their trainer, Cindy and Tucker go after him. However, the man claims he is not a hero and says there are no superheroes. Summer and Dylan show up shortly thereafter and are disappointed to realize that Jack is not the least bit interested in helping them develop their skills. During training, Marcia is impressed to discover that Cindy is able to lift 5 tons easily. At this time, Jack makes the serious mistake of criticizing the girl for wearing a princess dress, and Cindy throws the steel block in his direction. The training continues and Summer uses M&Ms to practice her telekinesis. While the scientists evaluate Dylan's powers, the boy takes advantage of his invisibility to get out of the way and not have to participate in the training. With Dylan missing, Tucker is the next to be called, but he refuses to leave the waiting room. Marcia then goes to talk to the boy in an attempt to help him regain his self-confidence, but Jack says that the boy is a big slacker, so he doesn't want to participate in the training. Upon hearing this, Tucker becomes enraged and expands his body, smashing the man against the glass. That afternoon, Jack questions Marcia about why that team was created. The hero knows that the government is hiding something and plans to find out what it is. However, the scientist claims she is late for a meeting and takes a big tumble after running over the table in her office. Marcia has been disappointed from the moment she met her favorite superhero. She believed that Captain Zoom was a just and generous man, as she read in the comics. But when she met him in person, she could tell that he is the opposite of that. Determined to get the truth straight, Jack claims that all those stories are false. The government made all that up to cover up what really happened. At that moment, the woman crumbles, as she was the biggest fan of the Zenith team. She goes on to her meeting and informs the committee that, according to the examinations, the young people are unwittingly suppressing their abilities. General Larrabee informs them that they need to be prepared to neutralize the approaching threat. Marcia asks what threat the man is referring to, but is interrupted by Jack's arrival. The hero hears them talking about an imminent threat and enters the room in search of more details. However, the general throws him out. There are only 5 days until the arrival of Concussion on Earth, and Jack is more concerned with teaching his pupils to play baseball. However, when it is Cindy's turn to hit the ball, the girl throws the object so hard that she ends up breaking the glass. The next morning, Dr. Grant takes Jack and his new team to see Mr. Pibb, the Zenith team's former robot helper. With the help of the old tin friend, Jack manages to break into the garage and intends to take the youngsters for a ride in the Area 51 flying saucer. The man tells that in the 1940s, when that vehicle fell to Earth, government agents rebuilt it. Jack can't fly that thing and Tucker takes over. While flying over a farm, Boy decides to take a cow for barbecue, but Jack orders him to return the animal. Instead of barbecue, the group flies straight to a snack bar and orders hamburgers and milkshakes for the trip. Minutes later, all that was on TV were reports of people claiming to have seen a flying saucer. At this point, Marcia realizes what has happened and is furious. When she goes to question Jack about what he has done, the man claims to have brought her a chicken burger and discovers that the scientist is a vegetarian. That night, Cindy has a nightmare and asks for permission to sleep in Jack's room. Since he knows that the girl will not take no for an answer, the man lets her sleep on the sofa. However, not satisfied, Cindy pulls the piece of furniture closer to the bed in order to sleep next to Jack. In the next training exercise, the youngsters are sent into a simulator. Their goal is to make the machine stop by pressing the red button in the center of the room, while trying to dodge the shots. As the days pass, the unexpected happens and Zoom becomes friends with these youngsters. For some reason, the former hero decides to train them for real and is happy to see his pupils developing their abilities. During training, Cindy claims she wants a superheroine name. However, Jack ignores her request and she throws a vehicle far away. As the days pass, the group has not yet learned to master the simulator and fails to complete the mission even when the machine is operating at its minimum capacity. Summer believes that all this is Jack's fault, that he is not training his team as he should. Since Dylan refuses to participate in training, the boy has been confined and his instructor decides to go talk to him. He then asks Grant to release the boy. After that, the doctor goes to take care of the plants living in the outdoor survival simulator. However, he goes awry when the trio of child superheroes break into the control room and Summer traps the man inside. Tucker presses the first button on the control panel and a storm begins inside the simulator. Soon after, Cindy causes Grant to be struck by lightning. The scientist orders the children to open the door to the room, but instead Summer pushes a new button that makes it snow inside. To make things worse, Tucker sets off the tornado and several rocks fall on top of Dr. Grant. Of all the challenges a person can face in that room, the worst is the skunk attack. Despite the scientist's pleas for the youngsters not to push that button, Cindy releases the animal and Grant faints after being attacked with the smell of death. Meanwhile, Jack goes to the training room with Dylan. The man tells him that in order to develop his powers to the fullest, he had to receive a lethal dose of Gamma-13. However, he does not want those young people to go through that, because the side effects of that procedure are terrible. So Jack is determined to help them develop their powers naturally. During the training, Dylan discovers a new ability. In addition to being invisible, the boy also possesses the ability to mentalize. In this way, he can see things and people through his mind, even if he is miles away. During a conversation with his mentor, Dylan asks what happened to the Zenith team and finds out that they all died fighting Concussion, Zoom's brother. Jack was the only survivor of the team, and after eliminating his brother, he was never able to access the full extent of his powers again. The most that man can currently do is to move his fingers at high speed. There are only 2 days left until the arrival of Concussion on Earth, and although he doesn't know it, Jack intensifies the training of his apprentices even more. Realizing that they are evolving, the youngsters become excited and dedicate themselves more to developing their skills. Grant accompanies the general to the location where the appearance of Concussion is predicted to occur. Larrabee is in favor of using gamma radiation to boost the new team's powers, but the scientist says they can't do that after what happened to Connor. Jack's brother was a great superhero until radiation turned him into a villain and the results were catastrophic. Grant's idea is to use the youngsters as a distraction so that his team can launch the sonic net he has designed. In this way, Concussion will be captured and his powers will turn against him. If Zoom can regain his ability, his speed will be able to create a megavortex, which will reverse the negative effects of gamma radiation, and Connor will return to normal. That evening, Jack and Marcia plan to throw a small party to celebrate the success of the young heroes. Summer goes to the scientist's room in search of something to wear and the woman lends her one of her dresses. When Summer arrives at the place, Dylan approaches her and hands her a present. The boy tells her that he made the pendant in the lab and helps Summer put it on her necklace. Dylan then asks her to dance, and Jack takes the opportunity to take Marcia onto the dance floor. Minutes later, Larrabee shows up and breaks up the party. The man reveals his plan to use radiation to enhance the powers of those little freaks, and Jack soon begins to think of a plan to stop him. That dawn, the hero wakes the young men and asks them to put on their uniforms. Then the group walks to a secret passage that is hidden inside a power box. At that instant, Dylan uses his mentalization ability and enters the control room, where Grant and Larrabee are. After seeing what is on the screen, the young man discovers that Concussion is still alive and on his way to Earth. Upon hearing this, Jack immediately goes to his superiors and confronts the general. Zoom claims that those children won't stand a chance against the Concussion, but Larrabee ignores him and orders his guards to arrest him. Minutes later, Dr. Holloway, accompanied by several guards, picks up the young people to participate in the procedure. They are disappointed in the woman, but Marcia has a plan in mind. She uses her super blow to get rid of the security guards and enlists the help of the young men to free Jack. The man is furious with Marcia, as he believes she knew about the plan all along. However, he is relieved when he finds out that she is also against the general, because she possesses superpowers just like all the members of that team. Now that the group is reunited again, they rush to the garage and Jack enlists Pib's help to save his team. The hero orders them to enter the flying saucer and Summer is in charge of piloting the vehicle this time. Summer fixes a few parts that were out of place and the ship begins to function perfectly. Realizing that they are trying to escape, Larrabee orders the employees to close the garage exit, but the superheroes manage to escape in time. When he reaches the portal, Jack decides to go out alone to try to convince his brother not to hurt anyone. Then Connor finally shows up and can barely recognize him. The boy is furious with his brother for leaving him alone in another dimension. Concussion attacks him and uses his superpowers to hurl Jack away. In that instant, he discovers that Zoom has lost his powers and takes advantage of this opportunity to slowly eliminate him. Meanwhile, Larrabee orders his men to prepare to fire the sonic net. Just as Connor is about to destroy his brother, Pib shows up and the boy is happy to see him again. Then the new Zenith team arrives on the scene and the net is fired up. However, Concussion manages to deflect the attack and Cindy is about to be hit. Seeing the girl in danger, Zoom is able to access his powers and quickly runs to save her. Furious, Concussion attacks the soldiers, and Jack intends to stop him. As he has not been able to run at high speed for many years, the man suffers a minor accident during the course, but soon recovers and continues with the mission. He goes to the base and gets his superhero costume. He then joins his team to defeat the enemy. Dylan punches him and Summer uses her telekinesis to throw rocks at him. While Connor is distracted, Tucker throws him away with his giant belly and Cindy uses a metal tower to hit him back, sending the villain into a megavortex made by Zoom. While in prison, Connor tries to attack his brother, but Jack is too quick to be hit. By closing the vortex, the effects of Gamma-13 are neutralized and Concussion repents for all the harm he has caused his team. Jack accepts his brother with open arms and forgives him for eliminating the members of the old Zenith. The man then introduces Connor to his new team, and this becomes the beginning of a great friendship. 3 months later, life for the young superheroes begins to return to normal. Cindy performs in a school play, in which she plays Rapunzel. Her prince can't climb the tower, so the girl decides to give him a hand. Tucker, who used to be the outcast in the class, has finally found his place and now uses his skills to become the best goalkeeper in the school. Summer has become the captain of the cheerleaders and has struck up a relationship with Dylan. All of them, individually, have been able to move on with their lives, but they need to be alert at all times, because at any moment they could be summoned for a mission. This later became the story of how Captain Zoom reunited with his brother and created a new Zenith team. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.